Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here at Painted Studios. It's Thursday, it's a gorgeous day out. We are working away. I have my boys here in the studio with me. Hang on, I'll flip the camera so you can see them. Okay, that's my son right there hiding behind the lens. And my nephew way over there also hiding behind the tripod. So, I have had wonderful company all day long today with my boys here, and having my boys is like the best thing. I don't tell them that, and they're going to pretend they never heard me say that, because if I say it too often, they're going to just try to, take over my life. But of course they're sitting across from me smiling and cracking up right now. All right, for Thrifty Thursday, I try to come up with projects that you can do that aren't expensive, that don't require a heavy financial investment, but are high impact. To that effect, we have brought into the studio laser cut picture frames. And this one's got the manufacturer label on the back, which I don't want, because once we put paint on it, it's gonna be nasty. Ugh. Pull that off. And I have several different sizes in this. We have two patterns that are in this size. We have this one, and we have our hearts. And then we have one much bigger one. You can see we have the big one. Pull it back. And then we have ones that basically fit like a 3x5 image. Now, being that these are laser cut craft paintable frames, and you can find them on our website, paintedstudio.com, under our paintable surfaces. But being that these are, sorry, I'm cleaning the sticker off the back here as I'm talking to you, because I wasn't smart enough to do that before we started this. So there's no, if you look at the front and the back, they're exactly the same. So there's nothing built up here for you to slide a photo in. There's no edge for you to do some of the other things you might do to keep a picture in this. It's not a regular frame. However, if you swing this camera, see if I can get it into the view. Nope, you can't quite see it. Over here on our walls, we have frames like this that we've painted and glittered and just hung. They're great as a decor themselves, or you can mount them to the wall and your child, or you can put photos in here. You can put small paintings in there. So you're building a frame and a collage kind of look, as opposed to actually using this to frame a piece of work. All right, we're gonna swing this down. We're gonna get digging right in. All right, I have my frame here. I'm gonna make sure it's in the frame so you all can see it. Now these shapes can be challenging to paint because there's all this scroll work and all this cutout and all this paper stuck to stuff that I don't want stuck there. Hang on a second. Lord, I would have been better off if I had done this before I started the video, but no, I couldn't have done that. So I'm just gonna take my X-Acto knife and cut through this. And I can scrape it off the back. Get the credit, because I just don't even, I'm not even so much worried about the sticker being on the back as I don't want it showing through to the front when I paint it, because it'll look really sloppy. I just want to get it all out of this opening. And this happens to be where there was a little burr in the tooling of this. So you might need to go in here with, like, in some of the inside cuts, if you find an odd spot, go in with an X-Acto knife, or go in with a nail file or something. So what I was saying is painting these shapes can be challenging. All these little scroll works, all these cutouts, I have tried a million ways, and somebody recommended the other day that I try using a makeup sponge. And my dear friend sent me a whole huge bag, just for the heck of it, of makeup sponges. So I had lots of options, and these are so cheap. You can buy bags of these at the dollar store. So I wet it, because if you don't wet it, these sponges are really, really, really stiff, and they won't help you spread anything. So I'm taking this and I'm just sort of rouging it around a little and then pouncing. And I'm using black set coat. I just happen to have it in a smaller jar because it's the last of it, and I needed the room on the shelf. I needed to get rid of the big gallon can. So this will create a slight stippled texture, but set coat has an ability to self-level. So more of what you're gonna see is it'll probably pull into the wood. I shouldn't say probably. It'll suck into the wood a little bit. Doesn't raise the grain. These don't pop grain the way some things do. And they're laser cut on the edge, so you don't even have to say on the edges. And we just pounce the paint on, because then I don't have to try to work brush bristles into all these little details. I don't end up with stuff squirting out the bottom, which happens a lot with these filigreed laser cut items. All right. Let's just get this covered in black set coat. And you know, if you want to, you can come back and do a second coat. Really, there's no need. I'm just creating my background for what we're doing next. And if you get a little bit of paint that's too much in the hole just by accident, the sponge is also great for going back in and cleaning it out. Just suck it right out, and then you just dab it right back on the surface. And then you set this aside to dry. And I'm gonna put my lid. Hey Teresa, nice to see you here. Thanks for popping in. My boys are trying so hard to be good and quiet over across the way so that I can video. Also, they're not interested in what I'm doing. What I'm doing has no thrill to them. Although my son has really gotten into painting here in the studio. He comes in and paints models for a couple of the different games that he plays. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is take our Artsyville foil adhesive. No, it does not come in jars like this. Again, when I hit the ends of my big containers, I just pour off into smaller jars because it keeps everything clean. And I don't get it all dried out. So this is just what was left in the can. And again, we're gonna do the same thing. I did this frame earlier. It's had the black set coat on it, and I'm just using another makeup sponge to apply the adhesive. Now, because this is a somewhat porous surface, and I'm kind of pouncing this stuff on, I found personally that I will pounce one layer on and then come back immediately and pounce on a second layer to get enough adhesive on here to release well. And it's the nature of the wood. The size wants to suck into the wood because we've pounced on a thin layer of paint, and it just wants to work that way. And it's not like we dipped it in plastic, so it just has like a thick coating on here, and then the adhesive sits right on top. It's going to absorb a little bit into the wood, especially when I just finished painting this, you know, an hour ago. Now this will give you a slightly stippled texture. Just be aware that this adhesive does not self-level. So whatever texture you apply will be a part of the finish. And that's why I'm coming back and smoothing out stuff. I don't want the stippling to be too high. I don't want any puddles anywhere that create a little odd texture. I might get some of these little lines that I see showing up because I'm pouncing on this. I don't really care. It won't show in the long run. I know what I'm putting over this, so that will help hide that. But if you're brushing it and you're going to have brush marks, make sure that you understand that that will be part of your final look. All right, just got to finish winging around here one more time just to make sure I got enough adhesive on here. And you let your adhesive set up for, we recommend an hour. You just want it to dry completely clear and then not feel gummy. I may try to force this so that we can get a second foil released during this live, which may mean going back and putting foil adhesive on the other frame. We're going to set that to the side right now, somewhere else other than where I'm trying to set it. And that'll sit back over here. And voila, here is our big frame. Ah, gosh, here we go. Let me stick this in here. Okay. So this has already been painted and had size applied. I'm going to see if I can push this back a little so you can see a little bigger picture here. Now my fingers are all goopy. Hang on, I need to go grab a wipe to wipe my hands. Sanitizing wipes are not only great for cleaning and sanitizing, but the alcohol in them likes to remove paint from your surfaces, so that's really nice on my hands. I got most of the paint off too. All right, throw that out of the way. Now my hands are clean and we're going to move on to our next step. This has got foil adhesive. This has been painted. We are ready to release foil, and I think we're going to use our new Wild Cheetah in silver. I think this is such a pretty pattern. I think it's going to look great on this. All right, my tape for the roll over there. Start a piece about that long. Normally I try to start with a piece as long as the longest place that I have to foil. Set my cheetah over there, and we're going to place this here. So first thing I'm going to do is gently rub it onto the surface, but I'm not going to rub all the way up to the edges here because I don't want a sharp seam. So I leave that there and leave that as sort of a blurred edge, and that helps to match up the product later, match up the foil better. And so when you use a foil, if you haven't seen this before, foils have pretty sides and they have not so pretty sides. And it's always pretty side up, because what this is, the pattern is mounted on the back of a carrier film. So when we apply the adhesive to the surface and scrub it off, we are removing the printed pattern from the back of the carrier. And if you notice, I scrub vertically and horizontally. I rarely scrub like this, because if I scrub like that, it shows up in the final result. I'm not pushing super hard. I just want to make sure I've, worked the whole surface. And I'm just going to peel back. Oh, wow. That release is so good. You're never going to get a perfect 100% flawless release from foil, but man, can we get close. I mean, look how good that release is. I'd say we're at about 92% release, maybe even higher, because that's such a good release on this, and the adhesive is so good. And some of the films like this, I'm just checking to make sure I got everything covered. These foils aren't generally designed to be used as we use them. They're designed to go through a hot stamper with pressure and release on the surface. So we had to find ways to adapt this technology to what we do. And Artistic Painting Studio and Jennifer Ferguson worked really hard to formulate a foil adhesive that is as close to a flawless release for foils as you can get. And then we have such good foils. Gosh, I mean, really, look at that. Look how good that release is. But we have such good foils. Between the good foils and the good release, the results are almost always excellent. And I say almost always because if there's a way for somebody to bonehead it, I will find it. All right, let's cut another piece of our Wild Cheetah Silver. And now I'm going to place this over here. And we're going to get those parts that we missed on top. Gosh, I mean, look how good that is. That's spectacular. And you can use these in your home, in your office, take some with your kids to the dorm rooms. These are darling, contemporary, interesting ways to display pictures and artwork and drawings and all kinds of stuff. We've got this one here. And the other thing, oh gosh, this is so good. I mean, first of all, so good. But the other thing I want you to see is that because I didn't go up to that sharp edge where I laid the foil down, this transformation here is virtually seamless. You have to know what you're looking for to see that it might have a funny spot. But look how great that looks. I mean, this is awesome. And these frames, this one in particular is under $5. And the other ones are even less expensive. So they are definitely worth looking into. Now this one I think is like $2.75 or $3 unfinished. And you know, for $3 worth of foil, a square foot in foil and a little bit of foil adhesive and a bunch of these frames, you've got some killer decor going on for all kinds of locations. You can mount these in front of a little piece of chalkboard, have a great chalkboard frame. You can put it, you know, you could go the old Friends style and put this around your peephole in your apartment door. There's lots of options of things to do. So obviously I'm going back over this frame and applying adhesive with the sponge. Because I'm hoping that other frame behind me will dry by the time I finish. Normally we say an hour. Well, obviously, I didn't have an hour to wait while that other frame's set up. So we're going to try it. And I'll have to look and see if the foil adhesive is cleared. I might give it a shot. It's really close because it can still be really gummy even if it's turned clear. That's why we tell everybody to wait the hour, because even if it looks ready to go, it's not always ready. Okay, going back around, giving a little more foil adhesive, stamping some of those lines out that comes with this particular sponge. If you don't like this kind of sponge, don't use this. You can use a sponge brush. You can do this with a regular roller and a regular paintbrush. It's just this technique happens to work really well with the laser cuts. Okay, so well, let's pounce there because it's a little bit pooled up there, and that's going to make a mess later. Right, throw that to the side. Put the lid here. Throw this back over here. Okay. Now, This is pretty clearly dried, but we're a little gummy, so I'm gonna roll the dice with this. And if it looks like crap, well, we know why. So I think to go with our silver cheetah, we're gonna go with our gold leopard. I'm thinking I need a Fran Drescher, the nanny kind of fall in love with a whole bunch of animal prints finishes here. Yeah, there's some references. I just remember from the nanny that she always seemed to wear animal prints, so that's where that one came from. Right, now obviously this is small, so I can simply cut a single piece of foil adhesive, lay it on, and my fingers are sticking to the foil because I have the adhesive still on my fingers, so let me see if I can get some of that off. Ungum my fingers. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is rub it with my hand. Heat helps to release foils. If you're having any stubbornness, I'm obviously not having stubbornness, I'm just concerned about ripping all the way back down to the paint because I didn't let the adhesive cure up enough. So, wish me well, folks. We're gonna see how this comes out. Now, obviously, we're never gonna get to the third frame because that isn't gonna even have a prayer to be dry. Oh, yes. Really nice release. And now the cool thing is, this pattern now is part of this piece. I could just put a piece of foil, board down, put foil adhesive on, and rub this down and release it, and I'd have the reverse of the frame foiled onto the surface. All right. How cute is that? Look at that our little gold cheetah. All right, let me flip you up again. Remind everybody, reminder, tomorrow is the last day of our contest. So, what you need to do is go over to the video from last Friday called Free Finish Friday and Contest. Scroll down into the page, you'll see the videos. Go and share that, sprinkle it. We have the S word that Facebook doesn't like, so we use the sprinkle word. Come back to that and then post to that video that you sprinkled it. We will check. We're very close to having this contest come off. We need 25 shares. If we get to 25 shares or more, we're golden. If we're under 25 shares, and we're within like 1 or 2 shares of 25. So if we're under 25 shares, the contest is done. If we're over 25 shares, we're good. But you do need to come back and post under that video the word sprinkled so that we know you did it, so we can enter you in. And I don't care how many times you sprinkle it around. Every time you do that, that's an entry. Just you have to tell us that you did it each time you did it. So sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Your prize will be a 10-ounce jar of texture medium, a 10-ounce jar of metallic paste, and a stamping roller. It'll be one of the orange stamping rollers and handle. Now, we will draw this tomorrow during the live, so absolutely get your shares in. You will have until 4 o'clock tomorrow, or basically until I do the live. Whenever I show up, that's when the contest is over, and we'll do the drawing during the contest. And meanwhile, check out these cute frames. I mean, how adorable is this? I love these. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Remember, go to Friday's video and sprinkle the love so you can enter the contest. And of course, we appreciate any sprinkle of any video that you give us, and we are so happy to see you here. All right, everyone, have a great night. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.